For years, Dana Perino has been a symbol of ambition and grace. Her strong personality, smarts, and well-groomed appearance became a sign of strength and success in a tough world. As the 26th White House press secretary under President George W. Bush from 2007 to 2009, Dana made history as the second woman to hold the position after D.D. Myers during the Clinton administration. Today, as a trusted political commentator on Fox News and a lively co-host of The Five, Dana continues to educate and influence people. A lot of people see Dana as professional and friendly, but behind her polished appearance and warm smile is a much darker truth. For years, Dana has been silently dealing with her husband's worsening health. After years of keeping this battle a secret, the strong commentator finally told the heartbreaking truth, and we'll walk you through it in this video. But before we get into that part of her life, let's take a moment to look back at her journey and how she met Peter by chance. Dana Perino's journey began on May 9, 1972, in the quiet town of Evanston, Wyoming. Her family moved to Denver, Colorado when she was 2 years old, but Wyoming stayed close to her heart. The summer she spent on her grandfather's ranch taught her the value of hard work, resilience, and the belief that no challenge was too big to face. Her grandfather's unwavering optimism became a part of who she was, giving her the grit she'd need later in life. In the evenings, she and her father would often read newspapers and talk about the day's big stories. But it wasn't just small talk. Her father pushed her to think critically and see all sides of an issue before forming an opinion. This habit of careful analysis would follow her throughout her career. Dana took these lessons with her to Colorado State University, where she studied mass communication, political science, and Spanish. She jumped right into the world of broadcasting. She worked for KTSC-TV, a Rocky Mountain PBS station, and a hard overnight shift at KCY-FM radio, juggling homework with 2 a.m. shifts. Getting up at odd hours wasn't fun, but it made her stronger and showed her what she could do. Her goals didn't end there, though. Dana got her master's degree at the University of Illinois Springfield while reporting for WCIA on the fast-paced, high-energy life of the state capital. She learned how to stay calm under pressure, which would become a trademark strength of her career. From her small-town roots to the heart of Washington, D.C., Dana's path was built on resilience, curiosity, and a desire to understand the world around her. Her early experiences gave her the skills and confidence to handle the challenges that came her way, setting the stage for her to become a respected voice in political media after getting her master's degree and working as a reporter. When Perino bravely went into politics, it was more than just a job for Dana. It was a chance to be a part of something bigger and make a real difference. Her first job in politics was as a staff assistant for Colorado Congressman Scott McInnes. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave her a front-row seat to how Capitol Hill works, from managing schedules to taking care of endless details. Dana quickly learned that in politics, even the smallest tasks matter, so she made sure to do them well. Her hard work paid off when she was. Congressman Dan Scheyer was working on big energy policy issues, and Dana was put right in the middle of them. As you might expect, there was a lot of pressure on her, and every word she wrote or spoke had to be carefully thought out. But she didn't let that scare her. Instead, she leaned in. These early jobs weren't easy, but they taught her how to communicate clearly, stay calm under fire, and think on her feet. Every challenge was a lesson, and every success was a stepping stone. Did she know that these skills would set her up for a famous career? When Congressman Dan Scheyer retired in 1998, Dana had to make a big choice. She had been working hard in Washington to make her mark in politics, but instead of stepping right into another role, she took a step back. She packed her bags and moved to the UK with her husband Peter McMahon. It was a chance to start over and see life from a different point of view. Living abroad gave Dana time to think and feel refreshed, but her love for. Dana went away from politics for 3 years, but when she came back to Washington, D.C., she was ready to get back to work. In 2001, she became a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Justice, where she had to deal with tough issues where every word counted. The pressure was high, but Dana's calm and steady attitude helped her shine. By 2003, she was ready for the next step and became the Deputy Communications Director for the White House Council on Environmental Quality. This job was a game changer because environmental issues are always tricky. Over time, Dana learned how to craft smart, clear messages while navigating the political maze. Her hard work and strategic thinking earned her a solid reputation in the White House. Dana's career was on the rise, but her biggest challenge was still to come in 2007 when White House Press Secretary Tony Snow stepped down. Dana was asked to take over. The role was huge, and the pressure was enough to make anyone second-guess themselves. Dana almost gave up. White House Communications Director Ed Gillespie pushed her to go for it, but even back then, Dana had trouble with self-doubt. In a world full of Ivy League graduates, she sometimes felt like she had to prove herself more than others. But she didn't let that insecurity stop her. She used it to fuel her drive and made sure she was always the most prepared person in the room by reading, researching, and practicing her skills. Of course, Dana's time as White House press secretary for President George W. Bush wasn't perfect. The job wasn't easy. There were constant briefings, important decisions to make, and the need to stay calm while the whole world watched. The stress was unbearable, and Dana had to deal with persistent tinnitus for 2 years after she left the job in 2009. One of the craziest moments of her tenure happened in 2008 during a trip to Iraq while President Bush was giving a press conference. During the chaos, a Secret Service agent jumped in to protect the president and accidentally shoved a microphone into the president. She ended up with a serious bruise on her eye, but she kept going through the pain with no complaints or fuss, just sheer determination to get the job done. When Dana left the White House, she had to figure out what to do next. With some help from Shane Hannity, she decided to go into television at Fox News. It was a new world, but it came with its own challenges. Some people didn't think she could go from being a government spokesperson to a fair political commentator. They called her just another Republican. With her steady presence, smart analysis, and level-headed attitude, Dana slowly won people over. Shows like 5 in America's Newsroom gave her the chance to show she was more than just a political insider. She became someone people trusted for her thoughtful takes even when the news got messy. While Dana Perino was making moves and building a great career in front of the cameras, she was quietly going through some very hard things. In addition to making sharp comments and keeping her cool on screen, she had to deal with the emotional weight of caring for her partner. As you can hear, Dana and Peter's love story sounds like something out of a romantic movie. Deanna wasn't really looking for love when she got on a flight from Denver to Chicago on August 19, 1997, but fate had other plans. She found herself sitting next to Peter McMahon, a charming British man with a warm smile and a curious look in his eyes. She thought the atmosphere in Washington, D.C. at the time was pretty gross, and maybe this meeting was just what she needed. Peter, who saw the cute little blonde with the swinging ponytail walking ahead of him down the jetway, couldn't help but hope he'd be sitting next to her. Luck was on his side. Dana, who noticed his British accent, lack of a wedding ring, and undeniable charm, also thought he was interesting. For the next 2.5 hours, they talked without stopping, both not wanting it to end. When the plane landed, Dana wanted to make sure Peter could reach her, but she didn't want to seem too eager, so she gave him a card with her phone number, office number, fax number, and email address. Peter took her cue and emailed her, telling her everything he had been feeling since their first conversation. It was 10 days before Dana checked her email, and those days were filled with anxious anticipation. Eating and sleeping were put on hold while she thought about him. Finally, she read his message, and their connection picked up again. Picking up right where they left off, they started racking up international phone bills as they talked on the phone between DC and the UK until they decided to meet in New Orleans. Peter was excited, getting to the airport early and pacing like a teenager on his first date. Dana's heart was racing, and she knew she had to rush off the plane as soon as it landed or her nerves might get the best of her. Less than a year later, Peter proposed on the spot outside the Washington Cathedral, saying that it was. Dana was thoughtful and deliberate, so she took her time to respond. Exactly 1 year after they met, she handed Peter a letter full of reflections on their love, their time together, and her feelings toward him. At the end, she gave him the answer he had been hoping for, and they got married. Since then, Dana and Peter's marriage has been one of unwavering support and shared laughter. Peter wasn't just Dana's husband, he was her anchor, the person who held her up. He could bring her back to reality with his humor and steady view, especially when the chaos of press briefings or the intensity of Fox News felt too much. As Dana dealt with the demands of public life, Peter was always there with a calming word or a witty remark to help her keep things in perspective. But even the strongest relationships are put to the test, and recently Dana told Peter that she has been having some serious health problems. She didn't say what they were, but her words made it clear that this wasn't just a small bump. People can get through even the worst storms if they stick together. As a public figure, Dana has to balance the demands of her high-profile job with her own deep-seated problems. As an anchor for Fox News, she has to stay calm and focused even when her personal life is anything but. This isn't easy, but Dana has been incredibly open about her journey, letting her audience see past the polished TV persona. Her honesty makes her relatable, showing that even those. She makes it clear that it's about showing up, learning, and not giving up. Her stories are powerful because they're true, and they serve as a reminder that effort and resilience are more important than perfection. Dana isn't just writing books with advice. Her Mind It mentoring program helps young women get quick, useful career advice. She knows that not everyone has time for long mentorship sessions, so she gives advice that you can understand in just a few minutes, which is sometimes all you need. Dana finds peace in the quiet moments. She and Peter live in Bayard, New Jersey, where life slows down and getting back in touch is easier. They have an apartment in New York City for work, but New Jersey is home. It's where she walks her dog Percy along the shore, loses herself in a good book, and recharges. These simple habits help her stay grounded and show that even in a busy life, there's room for joy and calm. Her love of books has become a big part of who she is thanks to her book club. She talks about her best books and shares her thoughts with authors, building a community of readers who find meaning and connection through stories. Her book, Everything Will Be Okay, is one that she often suggests, especially to young women who need to feel more confident in their direction.